Hi, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
I'm here with Diksha Dixit. And she's coming from India. I'm excited to be here. Everybody that's watching, for some reason, I might have a bad signal. I'm working on that. But please let us know who you are. Give StreamYard permission to use your name. I'm Marakita Solis, a vegan empowerment coach. And it's my mission to bring in exciting vegans on this live stream and see how in every aspect of your life you can be promoting the vegan message. So tell us where you're joining from, who you are in the comments. If you have any questions for us, and Diksha is here from India, and she's an amazing singer, and she's spreading the vegan message through song. I mean, that's one of the ways that she's spreading her vegan message. So welcome, Diksha. Tell us about yourself, please.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. So, I'm from central India. I'm in Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh, which is basically the heart of the country. And from a very young age, I was an environmentalist, an animal lover. Like my dream is to live among, wild animals in a sanctuary where I'm friends with all the. Okay. Did we lose you? Okay. I'm just going to continue to talk about uh, a little about me, and maybe Makita will be back. Makita. Yes. So you're back, and you look
I'm back.
better, clearer. Yes.
I was moving my computer to see if that helped, but I was listening to everything you were
Okay.
saying.
Oh, great. Okay. This helped. Yes. Sorry for stumbling, but yeah. So I was an environmentalist and animal lover. I always wanted to do something that would do something good for the planet, and I started working in traditional hand spun fabrics. Because my mom was a fashion designer and I've always had creative interests. So I started making fun stuff that young people would like to wear out of traditional hand spun, hand woven fabrics. And I was researching the water use, the water footprint of different fibers. And I came across the statistic that animal agriculture uses up 70% of all freshwater resources. I was like, that sounds incorrect. It can't be true because we're going through the biggest like water crisis ever. People are evacuating cities, and so many states have such a bad problem that they literally have to move people. It's not possible. Water wars are actually going on in Africa, and it's not now. It's been going on for a while now. So what's happening? So I went down this rabbit hole, and I was like, does is dairy included? Because I was raised vegetarian, and I found out yes. And then I found out what happens to animals in the dairy industry, because I thought that by being vegetarian and not eating the flesh of animals, I was doing enough. I had no idea. And I was shocked. And I was like, why don't more people know this? Because everybody is concerned about the environment. Most people do believe in climate change now, and they understand the importance of doing better. And people are switching from plastic straws to, metal straws and paper straws, and doing whatever little they're making biodegradable plastics. Why isn't anybody talking about veganism and or plant-based diets as a way to mitigate climate change? And why aren't more people talking about this? And again, just more research and stuff, and I found out all the reasons that one should make the switch. And in December 2019, this is when I was finding all of this out. I became vegan. I made the switch. I was scared that it would be expensive, that I'd have to buy expensive nuts, because I was addicted to dairy for a whole year. But that kind of benefited me because it forced me to make products that are alternatives that taste just as good. And I was constantly experimenting with vegan cheeses and vegan milks and butters and feeding them to my friends and family. And the response was great. They loved the things that I was making. So
Oh,
that's food is one way that I do a lot of my activism. If I'm going to a birthday party, I'll make the cake and I'll make it vegan. And they can't believe it because it tastes exactly the same. So most people are quite pleasantly surprised by the quality of products and foods that you can make, and it doesn't take away that's what most people feel like, that it takes away, but it doesn't. So yeah, and I've always loved writing and reading. Writing poetry. I'm not very good with stories and stuff, but poetry and songs are things that I've written on every topic that could, like, people have challenged me to write things, and I did it. I've written poems on people's asses and 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 spiritual awakenings and different, like, crazy things. But it's really fun for me to write. And once I became vegan, I found that a good way of putting that message across was making songs that sounded nice as well and had that message very clearly but beautifully put in a poetic way, and it wasn't very in your face. So I tried to write music like that, and I found like a small community of people. You had Aaron on your show before, and he read a few of my poems and he composed a few of them, and we're working together on a vegan musical with Mary from Canada, and we're very excited about that. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. And in 2020, I decided that I wanted to share this with more people. So we started a small initiative called Vegan Fest India, and I wanted to do big festivals that had everything vegan. And then the pandemic happened 3 days before my festival was scheduled to happen. But we continued. We thought, okay, let's do online stuff, and we got in touch with vegan brands and did 18-hour lives and 12-hour lives, and just, I was cooking and singing and talking to people and interviewing people and trying out products. So yeah, I did what I could. We did a big event in Bangalore a few days back, and because it was such a huge event in a different city, it was a little difficult and lots of things went wrong. But we're trying to recuperate from that, and I'm also in the process of turning my ancestral home into a small vegan cafe. That's where I am right now. So this place will hopefully be turned into a little vegan cafe, and we'll start with online orders for now, and do what we can and see how it goes from there. So that's what
That's
I'm up to.
exciting.
Yes.
That's exciting. I'm doing everything I can over here to try to figure out what's going on with the signal. That's why I'm bumping around. But anyway,
Yeah.
I have no idea why it's doing
That's
that.
all. It's better than before, though. Yeah.
I had two cameras on. I don't know how I could even do that. Both cameras were going. So anyway, I unplugged one. But so are you talking about when the musical, is that Camp Compassion?
Yes.
And you're working on that. When with Aaron, because I interviewed Aaron, Aaron Samuels, Aaron
Yes.
Cadam Samuels.
Yes.
He was one of my first.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I love that because that's going to be, what's that guy's name in it? Frankenberger. What's his name? Keith.
Yes. Yeah. Frankenberger. Keith Frankenberger.
He's the
And
main star, right?
he's the main star. He's the non-vegan kid in a vegan camp, and he feels like an alien. And basically, the concept was to reverse how, we feel as vegans, like we're the only ones, and everyone around us is a non-vegan. So the theory of, like, the thought process behind Camp Compassion was that he's the only one. Like sometimes vegans feel like we're the only ones, and everybody else around us is, that community is not very present and available in every city. So we wanted to flip the script a bit and see what it feels like. So I'm mostly editing, and I give ideas, and I wrote a few, like one scene and one, and sang one song, and wrote a bit of one song. So yeah, just little. I'm just very happy to be included in the process.
Well, I'm excited for that to come out.
Yeah.
So let's hear some songs. Let's hear a song from you. I know it's
Yes.
10 something there at night. So thank you for doing
No,
this.
yeah, it's good though. I was traveling, so I slept a little because I got really tired in the morning. So I'm not super sleepy. Yeah, okay. So this song is called Pretty, um, and it's about cruelty in the beauty industry. And it's basically, my friend was playing this really beautiful melody, and I found the melody to be very pretty. And I decided, okay, I'll call this song Pretty. And so this is pretty. I wish he was able to be here, but because it's so late, I couldn't call him. And I am planning on releasing more videos of my songs on my channel, so we'll hopefully get to that. But I'll sing this to you guys live. So yeah. Painted faces, winning smiles, hide the ugly, got them sighing. You're so pretty, it must be nice. They don't know there's a graveyard inside. Pretty, it ain't pretty. Fish fatties, long lashes, red lips, silk sashes, fake beauty. Wool coats, leather jackets, fur drapes, lab rabbits, mean cruelty. It ain't pretty, it's not so nice. Just look closer, there's a graveyard inside there. Pretty, it ain't pretty. Who paid for your beauty? Did they pay with their lives? Do you ignore their pain? Can't you hear the cries? They're not pretty, they're not so nice. Just look close, there's a graveyard right there. Pretty, it ain't pretty. That's pretty. And
Thank you.
it was sort of one of my friends uh, was asking her boyfriend, the vegan couple, that why do you like me? Because there are so many prettier girls that are there, and he said they're walking graveyards. And I just really found that to be very poetic, so I sort of included that it's not. We feel like painted faces and winning smiles, and they hide the ugly, um, and got them sighing because everybody thinks that it must be so great to be so pretty, but if you look closer, people have become walking graveyards because we're always contributing to death. So I found that to be a nice way to put this across. That's pretty.
Yeah, that's a very informative way. And then you think about also the cosmetic industry, the
Exactly.
animals that are harmed in the cosmetic industry. And you're right. I mean, people walking around wearing leather and just not knowing, not being aware of that, and yes, I remember seeing some sad documentaries about. Well, I'm not even going to talk about it, but yeah, about the
It's
India,
so
the
upsetting.
cows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's another thing I wanted to talk about. Thank you for that. I mean, someone said lovely voice, and yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful that you could do it without any accompaniment. That's amazing. Um,
Thank you so much.
we'll get you to sing another one in a minute. But that and where do you sing? I mean, who hears these vegan songs? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, so basically, I have a band called Upswing, or I had a band called Upswing, and we've banded and disbanded multiple times, and people keep switching. But me and my co-composer, my partner, is usually there. We are like the permanent members, and whenever we do events, because we did around 11 to 12 events since November 2020 to April 2022, online, offline, whatever we could. So whenever people come to our events, we sing them our songs, and they're about climate change, they're about creative inspiration, and a lot of them are vegan, about veganism. So we sing this to them, and also. Um, a bunch of us are trying to get gigs around town locally in bars and stuff. Although most people don't listen to music in English, which is a problem sometimes. But they seem to still respond to me pretty well. So in my small town in Bhopal, which is like not the most metropolitan place, I managed to go into bars and clubs and friends, establishments, and sing to people there, and they actually like it. They stand up and clap and dance even to vegan songs and to original music, that which is shocking to me because I expect nothing. Like I'm half expecting them to throw stuff at me and tell me to go away or sing in Hindi because everybody does that. But I find it very difficult to write as well and express myself as well somehow. Um, in my own language, which is not a good thing, but that's just how it is. That's how I've been since a very young age. So yeah, I sing it to mostly whoever will listen and whoever is basically forced to come to my events and listen to us. And it's been good. Now I plan to actually. I'm really bad with social media actually, so I'm trying to improve, and I'm planning to do a few lives every week maybe, and just getting together a bunch more musicians to help me out and building a little studio up there. And I'll be putting out some videos, and I have like some music video concepts also for a lot of these songs. Like for Pretty, I have something where there's mirrors and makeup and faux fur and all. So just I have a concept in mind for a lot of the songs. And I have a friend who makes videos as well. So just working on the content. I make parodies also. I made a parody of Another Brick in the Wall, and that vegan parody is another stack in your mall. So about how we treat animals as just objects and to be sold and bought. So yeah, that's who listens to the songs for now.
Well, that's amazing. Now I want to hear another song, and then I'll ask you more. I'll ask more questions. If you'll sing us another song,
Yeah,
that would be great.
sure. Okay, so this one is called Oh Dear, and it's about like a bunch of social issues as well as animal rights. So it's got this jazzy kind of thing going on. So yeah, I'll just sing it. Oh yeah. So also, earlier I'm talking about how we fear the one who made us. Like God fearing is a very common thing used to control people and to, fearing your creator. But I feel like we should, if you are a spiritual person, you should love that energy that created you. And basically, it's talking about how God is not judging you, but humans are, and all your judges are basically self-appointed. So and they're mostly human. It's not the universal energies are not judgmental or mean. It's just energy. You can use it for good and you can use it for bad. So it's a little bit about that also. Okay, so oh dear, why do you fear the ones who made you? Do you feel it disappointed? Oh no, honey. All your judges are self-appointed. Take a deep breath and shake off the wool. Break the sheep spell. The truth is calling. Oh dear. Cannot for sticks and stones and break your bones back. Those who sorry, I keep forgetting my lyrics. I'm getting feedback from from your mic as well. So while I'm singing, would you like to switch that off or like just while I'm singing? So that's confusing me a little bit. Sorry. Um, yes. Okay. So I'll start again because without the feedback. Yeah. Oh dear, why do you fear the one who made you? Do you think they'll be disappointed? Oh no, honey. All your judges are self-appointed. Take a deep breath and shake off the wool. Break the sheep spell. The truth is calling. Oh dear. Cannot. For words aren't sticks and stones, and those who moan are already lost to truth Let's raise our glasses and blink, not clink, for the glare will cease to hurt. Oh, dear. Fear not, fear not, desire won't unleash the hellfires that terrify you. Step into the sun that will bring down just love. Oh dear, oh dear. Pray not to the false gods that teach you violence and silence the truth for greed. It's time we freed all earth's children. Stay not enchanted by the gold that glitters and feeds you not when the drought is all upon us. All for water, oh dear. Don't keep eating if you're full, says the wise man. But do you listen? If yes, you should, maybe you look something. Maybe you resist the pull and stop. So that's Odia. I write a lot of songs, so I keep forgetting my lyrics a little. So sorry about that. And I haven't been able to rehearse a lot because again my band is all over the place. But yes, that was Odia.
Well, thank you. That was beautiful. I love the jazz. I love that jazz, and we're getting some really good comments over here from Kenneth. I love the vegan song and interested to teach me to inspire others.
That's so cool.
Yeah, there's many different ways to inspire, right? So we got to look at what we're good at, tell me about India. Oh, let's see. Someone's here from Baltimore. Just found this. Wonderful. Thanks for watching us. Yeah, thanks for joining in. So I want to know about India, because when I think about India, I think, well, everyone there loves animals. They love cows. So surely everything is good there. That's what my initial thought would be. And I think, how could it not be good? Because the cow is sacred there. So tell me about what's really going on there.
Yeah. So basically, because animal agriculture is an industry, like all over the world, it has the power to hide what's really going on behind the scenes, and it leverages people's sentiments about their culture, about religion, and tells them that by consuming dairy, we are being traditional, and tells them that by consuming dairy, we are helping cows, because a lot of people who benefit from this industry tell their followers that if cows were not being used for dairy, they would be sent to slaughter. And what they don't mention is that because cows are used for dairy, more and more of them are bred. And the more and more we breed, the more resources are needed to take care of them. And because we have, male and female cows that are born, so you have the bull and the cow, nobody seems to ask the questions as to where the bulls go. Where do the male babies go? Where do the also in India, because cows are worshipped, and a lot of states, not all, but a lot of states make it illegal to slaughter cows. A lot of people actually they basically and
Oh, wait, I can't hear you. You're muted.
yes, I'm so sorry. Yeah, my box fell. I placed the phone on the bunch of stacked boxes to get the right angle because yeah. So yeah, basically a lot of in India, lots of people drink buffalo milk because it's legal to slaughter buffaloes. In every state, in every city, there is a slaughterhouse for buffaloes, and nobody considers buffaloes their mother, even though they drink their milk. But they think that, oh, cow is a holy creature and cow is the mother, and that's what ancient Indians taught us, and that's our tradition and that's our culture. And that's not it actually, because that's just some information which was used, is used currently by people running dairies to get people to buy their product. And how it was used, how cow milk was used initially was as a medicine for certain ailments in tiny quantities. Cow milk or cow milk fat was used. And they keep saying, oh, in ancient times, it's been going on for so long. Like, how can you say it's wrong? Because in ancient times, and one of our gods was a cowherd, and he, like Krishna, is one of the incarnations of Vishnu, the protector energy in Indian mythology. And he used to be a cowherd, and he used to steal butter, and he used to. But the problem is that most people don't read these stories for themselves because they're in the ancient language in Sanskrit, and most people don't know. So if you actually read those texts, nowhere do they say that they want offerings of dairy. uh, like in Indian culture, you offer your gods, flowers and leaves and whatever you're eating, and whatever that particular god demanded in his own text was not including dairy. So again, lots of misinformation, lots of exploitation of animals, of people. In fact, around 60% of people in India are lactose intolerant, and they don't even know it because everybody's just, it's so widespread and it's so ingrained in culture, and people use it and leverage it. And cows are transported to uh, states where slaughter is legal for them, and they are killed and eaten in those states. And India is the second largest exporter of buffalo meat, of beef, and most people don't know this because they don't want to know. So what I try to do is that whenever I am going to a friend's place or a relative's place, either I bring something which is vegan. If it's a party, if it's a birthday or something, I'll bake a cake and take it. And when they see me not having certain things and saying that I'm vegan, they ask me about it, and I tell them very neutrally, that this is what happens. And I don't try to make it very graphic. I don't try to be emotional about it because I feel like logic works best for me as a way of communicating. And yeah, logic, poetry, and good food. That's what I use to try and talk about this. But what's heartening is that a lot of plant-based companies are popping up, and there are a few plant-based markets that if you go there online, every few weeks you'll find a new brand that's making vegan eggs or vegan milk or vegan butter and cheese and lovely alternatives, really good quality stuff. A lot of it I have tried and tested by myself. Blue Tribe is one of them. Vakau makes jackfruit meat and good milk, which is now rebranded themselves as Do Good or something like that. They make a lot of vegan milk and dairy and lots of urban platter, lots of wonderful new companies that are working in the vegan and plant-based sector have popped up, and there is more awareness, and we keep hoping that people will change their minds as we progress, and as more and more things become available, and they feel like, okay, our culture, our favorite foods are not being snatched away from us, they're just evolving to exclude cruelty. And as more and more people understand that we are preserving the culture but not the cruelty, they will change. So I still have hope for all of that.
Yeah, well, that's great to hear that, that it's becoming more and more available, because that's what's so crucial. And I mean, I never thought about buffalo milk or anything of that at all. I mean, there's another animal to add to the list that's just sad, but at least you're taking action, right? And what groups are in India to take action? Are there?
Yeah, there are lots. So the animal safe movement is pretty big here. PETA is pretty big here. We have a group called FIAPO, which works. There is so there are a bunch of like good people doing a lot of stuff. There's the animal liberation movement, and lots of little. I think younger people are, joining more and more because they understand the consequences of uh, their actions and what we consume, and they are the ones who are going to suffer uh, the consequences of climate change as well, and of health, and of they are more sensitive to the ethics of what goes on. So a lot of young people have joined these wonderful international organizations and created their own groups, and they do street activism. They do talking, they demonstrate in on the streets. They hand out free samples of vegan stuff. And almost every city has some community, which is, even small towns have, uh, people who are vegan and who are activists and who talk about it. And they do a lot of hard work on the ground. They go for vigils, which I find terrifying. So I don't really go for vigils because it just depresses me too much. It makes me feel very helpless. And I hate watching animals suffer. So but I really admire those who do it because it's such important work. Because going there and comforting somebody who's about to lose their life to greed for and for no like there are so many myths surrounding animal agriculture, and one of them is that people would go hungry. This is one of the biggest things. I used to believe this. I used to think that people, and then I realized that people are hungry because we are wasting food and water and precious resources and feeding plant-based foods to animals who are slaughtered to feed only a little, a percentage of the population. So basically, I had no idea that if we all went plant-based, that we would not only save over 30 billion acres of hectares, 30 billion hectares of land for reforestation, but we would also be able to feed everybody on the planet. We would be able to feed 7 times the population, the human population of Earth that as it is now, if we all just switch to plant-based diets. So how wasteful this system is also shocking to me because if even if you don't believe that okay animals deserve better and that that they deserve compassion and you're not an animal lover, I mean I feel like at some point of time self-preservation should kick in, and we should be like okay these precious resources which are limited should not be wasted on such systems, but people are so greedy and it's a trickle down thing, right? So people at the top don't want things to change because they've invested in it, but now even they realize, I feel like a lot of the big companies that are responsible for supplying meat all over the world are getting into plant-based foods because they understand it is the future of foods. We don't have the resources to continue this way. So yeah, that's another thing that I feel is bound to bring about change. So yeah, lots of groups, lots of good people doing activism. And vegan outreach is another organization. Yeah, lots of people doing good work here.
Thank God for that. Yeah, that's good to hear. I feel better now. So,
Yes.
what made you become vegan? What was your journey?
Yeah, so yeah, it was more about the sustainability aspect of it because that was something that always concerned me. And like I said, I was doing some research on how
Oh
the
yeah.
water footprint of different fibers because I was working with traditional hand spun, hand woven fabrics, completely handmade fabrics that are thousands of years old. Uh, and then I came across this statistic, that like 70% of all fresh water is consumed by animal agriculture. Then I realized that 75% of all deforestation is caused by animal agriculture, that most of the monoculture crops that are grown using pesticides and all of that are used up and consumed by animals that are bound to be killed. And the sheer scale of the wastefulness of it all was shocking to me because I couldn't believe that people, it was so infuriating because we feel that there must be a good reason for people to be doing what they do. Like, I feel like as humans, we find it very difficult to believe that people would needlessly or just out of greed be cruel. but it's true. And that was what shook me the most, that people in power, people in governments, people who have this information hide this information, and they fuel such wasteful and horribly cruel industries simply for profit, and not for profit for, for the multitude of people, but for just that 1%. That's who benefits from all these systems. They don't want people to have food security, they don't want people to have water security. It's not, I'm not saying it's easy to get these things done, but it's not that difficult either. to it can't be like, we as humans are so innovative, we are so creative as a species, that we can easily come up with solutions if we want to, and if we try and if we attempt to. So that's what pushed me into it first, and then obviously, because I've been an animal lover, when I saw what happens in dairies and what happens to animals, because I used to be somebody who didn't want to judge her friends or judge anybody else for consuming meat, because I wanted to be accepted by everybody, and I wanted to be, friends with everybody, and I didn't want to sound judgmental or preachy. But when I realized the sheer waste of it all, so even now I don't go out of my way to tell people, but they always ask me, like non-vegans and non-vegetarians always ask me, why are you vegan? Don't you think it's extreme? And then I tell them what's extreme. I think it's extreme to waste all the resources of this limited, beautiful planet. I think it's extreme to kill, 56 billion land animals every year, and tons of fish, which is just thrown back into the sea. Like, I think almost 40 to 60% of fish which is caught, is tons, is thrown back into the sea, because it's not the kind of fish that people eat. They're killed needlessly. They're thrown. There are dead zones in the oceans. That's drastic. That is what is extreme. It's not extreme to give up dairy. It's not extreme to give up meat. It's extreme to do this to billions of lives, and people don't understand that humans are negatively impacted. Do you think that somebody wants to work in a slaughterhouse and slash throats for a living? And it's such terrifying work. It's such traumatic work to kill for a living, and it's physically, mentally, emotionally so it's almost abuse to make somebody do that. And it changes people, and uh, so I try to put that point across in a very, logical, practical way. I have a list of links to studies that talk about the environmental aspects, Harvard studies, Oxford studies by these good universities that people trust, and I share it with people, and I, tell them, read for yourself, Google it yourself. I did. That's what I did, and then that's why I changed, because I couldn't contribute to this anymore. So yeah, that's what it is.
Well, I want to see those links. I want to, I want to see those. I mean, yeah, share them, and the afterwards, and definitely, because that's important. And well, how old were you? So you discovered this, and then you found out more about the animals. But how old were you when you went vegan?
29. I was. It's only like 2019, end of 2019, beginning of 2020, that I switched. And yeah, one thing people are always scared of is like, oh, have we become so rich that we'll start having cashew milk and almond milk, and it's so expensive? And I'm like, the most expensive things on your grocery list are actually cheese, ghee, butter, milk. If you quit those, my food bill actually became half. If you're not constantly buying alternatives, if you're buying nuts instead and making your own, it's actually cheaper than dairy. So that's what I told people, because I was also scared of this, because I was like, oh, I can't afford to be vegan. There are so many myths. There are layers of myths. People think it's a privilege. People think it's a Western concept. People think it's an alien concept. But I think leaving out cruelty and being peaceful and trying to do better for everybody and doing what is good for the collective uh, planet, like for everybody, is a human thing. It's not a Western concept. It's not a, and it's as old as time. Like ahimsa as a concept, non-violence as a concept, have been a part of at least Indian culture for the longest time. And it's not cultural, and it's not necessary to harm animals to believe what you believe and to practice whatever religion, spirituality, whatever culture that you practice. You can preserve the culture and leave out the cruelty. And that's the message that I think we should continue to share with people, that we're not taking away your identity. We're not trying to tell you that you're wrong for doing this, because obviously you didn't know. You were raised into this. But when you know, you can try and do better. And every meal that you choose differently has an impact and has a big impact. So it's good to share that message. Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah. Yeah, the myths. I love you brought that up. These myths that we all are, the myths over there and the myths here are very similar, right? Yeah, the big old myth about protein and
Yeah.
that we're gonna. I used to think that too. I used to think when my friend told me in college he was vegetarian, right? I thought, what are you gonna die? What's wrong with you, right? So yeah, I mean, I was very brainwashed. Well, gosh, but what about your family? Go ahead. What about your family? Are they
Yeah.
vegan?
Mostly. So there's no dairy in my house. But when my parents go out to meet relatives and stuff, they don't make a fuss and they just eat what's there. It's all vegetarian. They are completely vegetarian. They don't consume eggs or meat. In India, most vegetarians don't consume egg either. So egg is considered non-vegetarian in India. So that's a pro tip for anybody who's like in India. If it's marked non-veg, it will have egg. Even if it has egg, it will be marked non-veg. It won't be marked vegetarian. So a lot of times, if it doesn't contain egg or dairy, it's easier to figure out what's already vegan and naturally vegan. And yeah, so my parents do not consume dairy in my house, but when they go out, they have what they want. I am constantly telling them to make the switch, and they do it on occasion. But there are some of their favorite things which are available when we go to relatives' house. They're like, oh, but I can't help but taste and stuff. So yeah, it's a process. I'm slowly getting there. My brother is the only non-vegetarian in the family, and he believes that he will be vegan very soon. But he's like, I'm waiting for the world to tell me. I'm like, that's not. He's like, see, it's inevitable. He believes that the world will be vegan and we will have no choice. But he's like, until then, let me have my fun. I'm like, no, you are a compassionate person who loves, animals, and you care about the environment. You are the first person who should be. But he's very sweet still, because he keeps sending me pictures of. He's in Dubai now. He shifted there, and he keeps sending me pictures of vegan desserts or vegan meats that he's trying and finding. So it's a slow process, but I think everybody takes their own time to get there. And basically, they refuse to watch the graphic content. That I'm so sorry about this. They basically refuse to watch the graphic content, and I don't want to force anybody to do that, because honestly, it's super traumatic for me as well. But so that's where that is. But a lot of my friends are exploring it. A lot of my neighbors and friends and family ask me for recipes or get me to make them vegan products, and that makes me really happy.
That's good. Yeah. Then I bet you. Well, I want some of those vegan recipes. You're going to have to put all these links for me, because I don't know how. What's that dessert? That little it's like a yogurt. What is that called?
Oh, Shrikhand.
Can you make
Yeah.
that? Oh, do
So
you have,
basically, yeah. So it's basically made of hung curd. So it becomes like so when you make so yogurt is very commonly consumed throughout India as a probiotic, as a healthy thing to have, and I used to love it too as a child. Funnily enough, I used to hate dairy as a little kid, but my mom sort of used auto suggestion. She would whisper in my ear, because again she had that protein thing, and that I want my child to have enough calcium and grow tall and stuff. So I was sort of forced into liking it, and then I became addicted. But yeah, so Shrikhand is very easily veganized, because all you have to do is soak a bunch of cashews. And if you find cashews to be too expensive, you can mix in watermelon seeds, which are also very nutritious and very neutral in flavor, just like cashews. So watermelon seeds and cashews, I use 50-50. And you basically soak them in hot water for around half an hour to 1 hour. And once they soften, you just blend them up with some sugar, some lemons, and some apple cider vinegar, and some cardamom. And you just make it super, super smooth, and it becomes thick and creamy and just like Shrikhand. So one of my cousins, he loves Shrikhand. That's his favorite dessert. So during Rakhi, which is a festival for brothers and sisters to celebrate their relationship and protect each other, I always make him a big batch of vegan Shrikhand and take, and he loves it. So yeah, that's how you make vegan Shrikhand. And that basically, that base of cashew and soaked cashew and watermelon seeds is very versatile, because you can use it to make vegan milk. If you dilute it more and just strain it through a fine mesh. I don't even use the whole cloth and all of that, it was too much. So I just, if you use a fine mesh sieve, it works. And you can use it to make cheeses by adding a little bit of nutritional yeast or garlic or miso paste. Miso paste is very cheap also, relatively, and it's very cheesy. And then I use roasted peppers sometimes, and just keep experimenting with the flavors. So I make cheese which is made of this mixture, some potatoes and some cauliflower also sometimes, cauliflower or cabbage, and some sun-dried tomatoes in there, some roasted pepper in there for some umami, and it becomes really interesting. So depending on what type of cheese you want, that becomes, it won't melt and stuff unless you put in agar-agar or other binders and stuff. But you can even use cornstarch to make it melty, and people do that. So yeah, lots of ways to experiment. And that's roasted nut milk is something I invented, which I didn't find anywhere else. So basically, you can even take your nut butters and just blend it up with water. Like a smooth nut butter, when blended with water, becomes a good plant milk. And alternatively, you can roast, if you don't want to soak your cashews and almonds, you just roast them in the microwave or the oven till they're fragrant. And again, just blend them up with um, water. And the secret is a pinch of salt, because dairy has a slightly salty flavor, because it's basically filtered blood. that's what that's what dairy is. That's what, because it's the mother's way of giving nutrition to her child, and it's specifically designed for that particular species. And so adding a pinch of salt to your vegan milks and desserts will make it more authentic tasting. And a little bit of sugar if you're just making milk, like a pinch of salt and half a teaspoon of sugar or any sweetener of your choice will make it taste more like milk when you have it. So yeah, that's one of the recipes.
Well, that's very interesting about watermelon seeds. I never knew that ever. I can't wait to look up some stuff. But I've been making some cheeses and really kind of experimenting with those too. Like I had a recipe, it tasted terrible. So then I added just more spices or more herbs, to really make it a lot better. So it's just fun.
Yeah.
There's a lot of new things that you can do.
Yeah.
And then if you've got a restaurant, you're doing a restaurant, right?
I'm trying to start one. I have never done this before, and I think I have a terrible business sense, because I hate asking for money. But I am trying to collaborate with a bunch of my friends who have cafes and who have done this before. And I sort of secretly, got them to first fall in love with my vegan products. So whenever they would invite me, I would take vegan kebabs and vegan mutton and vegan chicken. And they were like, I cannot believe this is vegan. You have to start something. I'm like, yes, start something with me. So I'm working on this. I'm planning on starting, I think in the next 2-3 months, I will have started a small cloud kitchen kind of thing, just to see what the response is like. And it's just about flavoring your stuff well. It's about knowing how each ingredient should be cooked and should be prepared and can be used to flavor. I love food actually so much, and nobody used to. My mom was not fond of cooking, so and my cook used to make very basic stuff. So I basically taught myself how to cook when I was 15, and I kept experimenting and kept experimenting. And I also used to make vegan. No, I used to make chocolates, and then I veganized all my chocolates. And I make around 60 flavors of fillings and different I make my own sauces and stuff to fill my chocolates with, and my own ganaches and liquor
Oh my God.
chocolates. Yeah. So I use food and chocolate and all of these things to lure people in and get them to. So I have a set of recipes that people love. My iced teas are again famous. Like I sold iced tea in one of the food trucks, food festivals. There was a festival here, and they allowed home cooks also to have stalls. And I sold iced tea, which was more expensive than a sugar, and I sold out every day because that was a special one. It had strawberries and limes and ginger and oranges in it. So yeah, I love making things and experimenting with food. So yeah, hopefully I will
That sounds
start cloud kitchen slash restaurant slash cafe, whatever is possible.
well. It sounds like that India's waiting for you. I mean, that they're waiting
Yes.
for you to start that, and you've got all those chocolates and all these great vegan, vegan meals. So yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, let's hear. Can we hear one more song?
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, and basically this will be the first proper vegan cafe in my city, because in my city there
Oh,
aren't any. They're mostly
that's
there in big cities. So I would love to. In fact, Aaron offered to help me do a little fundraiser and stuff because I'm really bad at all of that stuff and I'm really broke right now. So I would need all the help I can get. So maybe we can do that at some point of time, and hopefully we'll manage to do something good. And we can show the whole renovation and all of that happening, because my house is sort of had been falling apart, and my dad and I are putting it back together and planning to have the whole bottom floor of it become a proper vegan cafe. So that'll be fun. Yes. Okay. So one more song. So this one is called The Same Old Song, and it's about how we keep repeating the same patterns without really thinking about it. And again, I may, hopefully, I will not, but I may forget some lyrics. So please forgive me if I sound silly.
it's
Yeah.
all good. It's all good.
Yeah. Okay. Same old song. Look at you go, you're running for your life, chasing that money, that gold, that ice, keeping it chill with liquor and the cigarettes, killing you slowly while you're killing it. It's the same old song. It's the same old song. And it keeps us all marching on to the same old song. It's the same old song. And it keeps us all marching on. Better look alive and like the body on your plate. You got a planet that's dying. You're addicted to taste, keeping it rich with fur and butter. It's all fun and games till your time's up. It's the same old song. It's the same old song. And it keeps us all marching on to the same old song. It's the same old song, and it keeps us all marching on. The earth's getting warmer, the forests burn, the bees are dying. Tell me when you're gonna learn. We're dancing to the tune of a wicked Pied Piper. He's dancing us all to our dooms. Tell me who's gonna give you air to breathe, and who's gonna give you food to eat, and who's gonna give you water? That's life. But you keep on dancing to the Pied Piper's lies, to the same old song. It's the same old song, and it keeps us all marching on to the same old song. It's the same old song, and it keeps us all marching on to the same old song. It's the same old song. When are you gonna stop singing along to the same old song. That's same old song.
That was wonderful. I love it. You're so brave. Well, you have a beautiful voice. I guess I would be brave too.
Thank you. I'm so sorry this keeps falling.
It's okay. I love your hair, the way that you swoop it like that. We're having all sorts of tech issues. Tech issues in India, tech issues in Atlanta, Georgia. But I love that song, and I loved hearing about all of everything that I didn't know. Oh, what's happening here? Okay, let's see here.
My camera fell and it just logged me out somehow. My phone fell and it logged me out somehow. Yes.
Your hair is so pretty. I was saying that.
Oh, thank you. It's become a lot thinner than it used to be, but I'm working on improving it. Aloe vera helps a lot. Used overnight and then washed off the next day. It works like magic. So you get new hair growth, and there's a Indian gooseberry called amla, which comes in winter, and that's also the juice of it drunk and the pulp of it mixed with some hair oil applied for an hour before washing your hair also works like magic. Also hibiscus leaves.
Like tea,
Yeah.
hibiscus leaves.
Yeah, hibiscus leaves and flowers are both very gooey. So they, if you just blend them up in a blender and put them on your hair, it works beautifully as a natural conditioner. Just 1 hour before you shampoo. So yeah, those are the three secrets to my nice hair. It's
All
aloe
right.
vera, yeah, all plant based, of course. Aloe vera, amla, and hibiscus. Those three plants.
What was the second one?
Amla. So it's an Indian gooseberry. It's
Oh,
a really sour fruit which is very high in vitamin C, and it seems like it's so astringent and sour that it feels like it might not be good for your hair, but it's actually brilliant. But there's a technique of using it correctly. So I again experimented on myself multiple times to figure out the right way to use it. Is to first it's really hard actually also. So you have to sort of remove the tough pulp and then blend it in a blender with some water and squeeze out the juice and drink it with your yeah. So that's very good for a vitamin C boost in general. And then the leftover pulp, when it's mixed with any hair oil, I recommend extra virgin coconut oil. It's very good. And then you just blend it and you put it for an hour before you shampoo, and you have lovely shiny glossy hair and you have new hair growth coming in. What's like magic.
well, I need some hair tips. I just jumped out of bed, went to the dentist, and then I raced home, and then I got behind, and it's like time for the live stream. So, well, here I am. But anyway,
Oh, it doesn't show. It looks lovely. I love the hair.
thank you, thank you. Well, I've loved talking to you, and thank you for the songs. And I want you to tell everybody where people can find you, and you know about Vox Vegana. Vox, that's on
Oh,
YouTube,
yes.
and yeah, tell everybody about where they can find you, about the music.
Yes. Yeah. So again, I'm really bad at putting my stuff out there because I get really nervous in front of studio mics. But I'm working on it. I'm working on my home studio, and I have a band called Upswing, and I will start the YouTube channel and start populating it. But you can find me as Diksha Dixit, DIKSHADIXIT. On Instagram also, on Facebook also, but I'm not very active there, but I'm planning to be more active. And Upswing Rock, I think, is the name of my Instagram page for the music, where I am planning on starting to put up more of my songs and some covers also. Since Halloween is coming up, maybe I'll put on some spooky makeup and do some scary songs, and maybe it can be about scary dairy and scary meat. So that'll be fun. And Vox Vegana is this amazing, group of people who make music themed on vegan themes. Because and it started by Aaron Gagem Samuels, who also goes by Aaron Abolition, and he is a friend I made through Vox Vegan. Actually, we met really weirdly because he'd started this vegan a cappella group, and I love a cappella. and there's no one right now, in my city to sing with. So I joined them, and then I realized that it was for people who were living in Washington. And I was like, oh, so I took back it gives you the option, Facebook, to take back your request to join. And I did that. And he messaged me, Aaron, that, don't you want to join anymore? I was like, I do, but I'm in India. I'm on a different continent. So that'll be difficult. He said, no, but you can still join and we can collaborate and stuff. And then I shared some of my vegan poems with him, and he loved it. I'm also trying to compile all my poetry, a lot of which is based on uh, different causes also. And I think I have enough for like around 3 poetry books, one for children, and one for activism, and one for just spiritual stuff. So I'm in the process of putting them together, and maybe I'll start illustrating them as well. So that's something I'm looking forward to. But yes, you can find me on social media, where I'm not very active, but I'm planning to be. So stay tuned. Vox Vegana is there on SoundCloud, it's there on YouTube, it's there on Facebook as well, and on Instagram. And we did our first live on Vox Vegana Instagram like around a month back, I think. And we plan on doing more, but I was traveling, so we couldn't really manage it. But we plan on inviting a lot more activists and vegan musicians, and just sing songs about activism, because I feel like as artists, we have the responsibility to put out messages which consciously help people transition to doing better, being better, and thinking better. So yeah, that's what Vox Vegana is all about.
Well, definitely, and share the links, in
Yes.
the group, and all the links that we were talking about, the recipes,
Yes.
and then the studies, the Harvard
Yes.
and Cambridge studies. All share it everywhere. That's because we need to know. And
yeah.
So thank you
Yes.
so much for this, and it's been
Thank you so much for
beautiful.
having me. It was really great.
Yeah, and thanks everybody for watching. All right, and well, I hope you sleep well, and I hope everybody has a beautiful day. All right, namaste, vegan.
Namaste. Bye.
Bye.